So, good evening, and thank you for being here at the Italian Culture Institute in Los Angeles, for those of you who have never been here before. And we are truly delighted tonight to present with the Istituto Europeo del Design, IED, the exhibit Not an Artist, Toyboyz edition, which explores the artistic expression, creative disciplines, and business models related to toy design. We have decided to have this opening today because tomorrow, as maybe many of you know, it will be the opening of the LA Design Week. So this is a sort of pre-opening Italian style, I'll call it. This evening's event will include an introduction by Jacopo Manganiello, the International Marketing Manager of the, please take a seat, that would be great, thank you. Is the marketing manager of the Istituto Europeo del Design and co-curator of the exhibit, followed by a panel discussion. A few words about the IED. Maybe Jacopo is going to tell you something more about it, but I'd like to tell you why we chose the, among so many schools of design in Italy, the IED. Because it's an Italian educational treasure in the field of fashion, design, and communication, giving students the knowledge and effective tools they need to succeed in this constantly changing field. Tonight's panel discussion will feature Igor Zanti, art critic and co-curator of the exhibit, and IED Venezia director, who is here with us tonight. Artist and designer is a local designer, very well known, Fidia Falaschetti. Artist and designer Massimo Giacon from Italy, art manager of JLAD and art marketing specialist Giorgia Mannucci. I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to Jacopo Manganiello and Igor Zanti and the IED team for their invaluable support organizing and curating the exhibit and event with the Italian Culture Institute. I would like also, of course, to thank the artists Fidia Falaschetti, Massimo Giacon, JLAD, and Tokidoki Simone Legno, who's not here with us tonight, but is here with his wonderful artwork, for their participation, as well as Giorgia Mannucci and Jeff Zuccala for their support and collaboration. Thank you, all of you, very much. I warmly invite you to return to the Italian Culture Institute this summer. On June the 14th, the Institute, well, on another note, will be more about, the more traditional, let's say, Renaissance artwork. We will present a special lecture by the LACMA Museum here in LA, and the curator Naoko Dokake, and on the exhibit she curated, which is entitled Chiaroscuro, Woodcut in Renaissance Italy. The exhibit is currently on view at the LACMA, and I strongly suggest you to go and visit it, especially if you want to take part in this lecture. They will give us a lot of insight about, because she collected so many pieces and they're really wonderful. So you're welcome to go and take a look. As a courtesy to the others, I'd like to ask you kindly to turn off your cell phones now. Silence them, please, for the whole duration of the presentation. Thank you for your cooperation. And if you're not a member yet of the Institute, the Institute is open to everyone, but if you're a member, we have special members-only events, so you can join us. You just ask at the front desk, and someone will be delighted to give you some more information. So now, please join me in welcoming very warmly Jacopo Manganiello.
Well, first of all, thank you, Valeria Rumori, the director of the Institute, for having us. It's a pleasure. I also kindly ask Igor, Massimo, Fidia, and Giorgia to join me on the stage, please. So I don't feel lonely. So, thank you also for the wonderful words about the Istituto Europeo di Design. Perfect. I don't need to add anything else. Just that we are proudly Italian, operating in the business, in the field of education and design for over 50 years now. And we will we would like to keep doing so. So thanks to this kind of exhibitions and this kind of events, we are also trying to attract American students. So children, nephews, friends of friends, please come to Italy and study with us. A few words about the project Not an Artist before introducing each artist and this panel discussion about the work that you are presenting today. As you can see, the three main themes of this exhibition is about exploring the blurring borders between disciplines, so art, design, what's the difference? Let's try to figure out. Discovering the side professions of contemporary culture that helps the artists in making their artworks go around and be exhibited all around the world, but also investigating the Italian and USA relations in contemporary art. So it all started within the Institute a couple of years ago. We noticed that the contemporary art world was changing, and we asked a few professionals of the world to come and give us their suggestions so that we could incorporate those suggestions into our didactic methodology. So we asked curators, journalists, art consultants, and yes, professors to give an insight about what was going on in the contemporary art world. We had a 2-day workshop in which we outlined closer, yeah? Okay. In which we outlined the protagonists of contemporary culture and what was going on in this field, identifying two main movements. I'm not going deep into this, but what came out of this 2-day workshop was the fact that the protagonists of contemporary art needed specialized professionals in order to tackle the challenges of an ever-changing world, especially museums or galleries who detain the power, let's say, of the art world for so long. They needed to act as a specialist in different fields like communications and digital marketing, etc. So this is the first line of research that emerged from this workshop, but then we went on. We asked other people within yet context, so designers, experts in fashion, experts in communication and brand manager, Igor, always present, and Giovanni Ottonello, and some architects, to investigate further. And a second line of research emerged. So we outlined the fact that between art, design, and fashion, the limes, the border, is blurring. We have so many big fashion houses starting to work with artists in their fashion collection, or fashion collections are now displayed into contemporary art museum. Contemporary art curators are now curating design. Design fairs, you just can't tell the difference between a design fair or an art fair nowadays. So we wanted to go on and investigate with this. So what happened is a second line of research, so exploring the blurring borders between disciplines. We kept on, we went out of the YED context in international cultural events. We went to the Istanbul Design Biennial in 2017. We went to Venice during the Contemporary Art Biennale of last year, and we asked other curators, other art experts, other journalists to give their opinion about that. We are now in the first appointment of 2018, where we will ask the same to our guests today. So next step will be in Palermo during Manifesta this fall. I can't recall the dates, it's probably in November. End of September, okay, I was wrong. And then this cycle of conferences, of panel discussions will come to a stop, and we will try to incorporate all of this knowledge into our didactic system through our courses. The courses that we offer in these fields vary from curator practice, business for arts, arts management, cultural events management, registrar, so very specific professions of the art world. In case you're interested, in the link that you find inside the brochure, there is full of information. Let's go on to the topic of today. So, yeah, that was Istanbul, that was Venezia. This is today. So today we have an exhibition of sculptures, design objects, drawings, painting, merchandising, and this talk with the protagonists of the exhibition, plus Giorgia Mannucci, who is an art manager. Massimo Giacon is an Italian artist, designer, musician, comic drawer, how would I say, comic artist. He's a lecturer at IED, Istituto Europeo di Design in Milano. He worked with Ettore Sozzas Associati, Alessi, many design companies in Italy, but he also works as an independent artist and designer. We have Fidia Falaschetti, who is born in Italy in the beautiful region of Marche, but he moved to LA, how long ago? 5 years ago, to achieve such success as an artist and to be 100% artist and to live of what he's doing. We have Joe Ledbetter, wave your hand, who also known as J-Led, also illustrator, toy design, based in Los Angeles. We discovered tonight that he also has Italian origins, married to Giorgia, who is her art manager. And Simone Legno, Tokidoki, who is not here today, well represented by Jeff, who is a IED alumni. So he studied with us in Rome many years ago. He did graphic design and illustration, and he kept on drawing until he came to Los Angeles, found out his current business partners, and founded Tokidoki.it, a major worldwide brand of toy design and illustration, and you will check out his wonderful creations. Then Igor, my colleague, art curator, art critic, founder of Premio Arte Laguna in Venice at his 15th exhibition, worked with many galleries worldwide, and currently IED Venezia director. IED Venezia is the place where the majority of courses related to the contemporary art scene is offered. This is why he's co-curating the Not an Artist project with me. So let's move on. And let me ask your opinion. So first of all, I'm sorry, I have notes. Fidia, Massimo, the artists, designers, how do you see yourself? Yeah? Yes, sorry, that's true. Well, Simone is not with us today. He's the only artist who could not be with us today. So we asked him to reply to some questions, and here it goes.
Hello, my name is Simone Legno. I was born in Rome. I studied at the IED, Istituto Europeo di Design, and I graduated in advertisement and graphic design. I always thought I want to become a painter because my mom paints. Then I wanted to become a comic artist. When I grow up, I want to continue to do what I do because this is the job that I always dreamed. Actually, every day I discover something new that I never thought I'm going to do. So I want to continue to expand Toyboyz in many design categories, product categories, and I want to take as many creative challenges as possible in as many countries in the planet as possible. I live here in LA, in the United States. It's obvious that I would love to live in Japan. I dreamed about Japan since I'm a boy, and then I've been there 51 times and I keep on loving it more and more, so I think I should experience the daily life there sooner or later. I like very much pink and Tiffany blue. My motto is dream big. Art is self-expression, is something that's very subjective. It's just a way, a unique way of interpreting reality. Design is the way to put in together lines and shapes to be good looking and pleasant to the look, but even functional. I think that the main difference between art and design is that art is very instinctual and design is something that really requires a lot of thought. Nowadays, Yoshitomo Nara. Well, I would say Karl Lagerfeld because I work with his brand for about 10 years now, and I studied it deeply, and I could really learn more and more about his immense creativity and style and the capacity of designing every sort of product. Francesco Dotti. My mother. I hate arrogant and overconfident people. I collect vintage robots, and there is a sacred graal of robots, which is an enemy of Mazinger, called the Roculon Q9. Extremely excited about life. Every day it's a surprise. I wake up that I want to keep on working and doing more and better. Always try to be original, because out there it's very competitive. Don't copy other people, because first, as I say, you should be original, and second, because once you copy, you are branded as a copycat. Good luck, because art is not always about talent and hard work.
So we posed the same questions to all of the artists today, but we're not playing videos for all of them because we have the real ones. But in the exhibition, there are some boards with their answers to exactly the same question, so you can compare. But right now, yes, this was the presentation about Massimo and about JLAD, Fidia, of course, Tokidoki Simone Legno. And thank you for listening to me, but now let's listen to the opinion of our guests. So, again, what is the difference? This is to Fidia and to Massimo, the difference or your opinion concerning the topic of today's discussion, so the blurring borders between art and design. Do you consider yourself an artist or a designer, or what do you borrow from the other discipline? Dai Fidia. I decide. I'm the boss.
Of course in English. Well, I am pretty much considering myself a human being trying to be an artist and achieving the art world, and it seems that it's working out. But the thing is that what I got from this venture that we're doing here is that it's very interesting how you guys are trying to show that behind an artist, which I consider myself, there is a project, a big project. So it's not just what you see is the product of an ecstasis, which is the sculpture, being there, doing the sculpture and making out, all these. No, there's a big planning behind it. So the totem that you're looking outside, the totem pole, which is almost 7-foot one, is a work of 6 months. So the idea, it probably took, 2-3 days. And then the sketches maybe a week. And then there were like 5 months of hard work, dedication, working with facilities, and also different kind of people. So there is like the 3D printing, and then all the raising process. So big facilities which are working together with me, and which I actually produce in Italy. And I go and visit and stay there for the whole time of the production. So this is a big part of an artist's duty. It's not just create something, it's follow all the process which are made by people which are very talented and skilled in what they're doing.
Can you consider yourself a project manager in an artistic project?
I can consider myself, of course, a project manager. I would say that I'm building a staff of people working together with me, because I consider myself more skilled on being an artist and having ideas. So the most interesting part when I'm, which is also the hardest part, is about like having the idea and try to find out something that surprise myself, and then possibly and thankfully can surprise and tell something to the community. So more you are behind the project, more you are behind the communication and all the other things that are necessary for an artist, and less you can focus yourself on the artist side. We were talking about this with Joe before.
Yeah, that was the second question.
Okay,
So Massimo, what's your opinion about that?
Okay. Once upon a time, when I was a child, don't panic, it will be short. All my best wish when I was a child was to be a comic maker. Since when I was 6 years old, I started to learn to make comics when I was very, very, very little. And after my comic life, I started to know that there is another type of world. It was not only the comics. But I wanted to put the comics in the other media. So when I was 16, I was very involved in the punk movement. And so I wanted to be a punk singer. And I still am. Maybe I am an old punk singer now. And so the thing that I wanted to do was to mix together a lot of different words that was music, comics, performance, exhibition of art. And when I published my first comic book, a very big personality in the design community of Italy, of the entire world, Ettore Sottsass, that was the Italian guru of design, read my comic book and called me. He wanted that I work with him in his studio. And for me, the design was something very, very strange. For me, the design, the architecture, was the things that if you do comics, it is that things that you have to put behind, the principal character, the main characters. And but Ettore was a very maestro for me, even if he didn't want to be called maestro. And I started with to understand with him that the objects are something that it is very connected with storytelling. And that the objects are something that can become something that say something. I didn't know what, but the words of a maestro like Ettore Sottsass was the same, that at the age of when 70 years old, he told me, but I don't understand nothing about design. So I think that the mood that you have to approach with different media, it is like a child, but a clever child.
So, as far as I understand, there is a creative process, an idea that comes to your mind, and then a production process, let's say. But then, since I know this, there is also another phase, a communication side. So after the project is born in your head, then it has to be born for real, and then it has to be spread around to communication, marketing, exhibitions, etc. And this, of course, involves other people. Who do you work with after the creative process? So who do you work with during the production phase and during the communication or selling or marketing phase of your job? This is also to Fidia and to Massimo.
So a very important role in this environment, in this world and the art world, I would say the galleries the gallery have this important role, because they're supposed to make a good marketing for the artists. They market, they brand the artists, they put the artists, at least for me as a contemporary artist. And if you work with good galleries, the good galleries are pushing you there, are bringing you around, for art fairs and good collections and around the world. And basically, my own studio, I have to be honest that I've been doing pretty much everything by myself. I will do actually a documentary called Art is a Family Business, because my dad, which is also my granddad and my dad, both of them painters, they brought me, called me, naming me Fidia into the art. And so my dad, which is retired, is taking care of production in Italy, because most of my sculptures are made there. Regardless that I've been doing pretty much by myself, but I'm building. I have assistants which are coming in and coming out, coming in and coming out, because it's not easy to find, even more nowadays because of the millennial guys, the new generation. They feel entitled to everything. That
position is open, so raise your
position
hand.
is open is an official.
Okay, so let's do this. What are the duties of your assistant? So if anybody of you is interested or knows someone who's interested.
Well, the assistant for an artist has to be somebody that has to do everything the artist is doing, but the creative part. So the assistant is needed because the artist has to focus on the creative side of it, which is, for me, I'm not much egocentric in that term, so I'm open to also like suggestions from my assistant, why not? But they have to work on, even more nowadays with these social media things, which is crazy. So we have to be there on Instagram, we have to be there on the story on Instagram and Facebook and everything, which is just driving me completely nuts and crazy. So I don't want to take care of it, and I wasn't take care of it. Now the position is open again. I have to post everything there, but this is very important. It's important to be there. It's important that somebody that knows how the social media and the marketing works for you. And an artist, I think, in my humble opinion, shouldn't do that, because it's gonna take off again, Joe. It's gonna take off a lot of time from what we're made of. We came to this world to do what we're doing best, which is, this silly, crazy stuff we're doing. Somebody like it, and it's important for me, from a personal perspective, which is I'm a social commentary kind of artist, to communicate something about this social, crazy society. So open a dialogue with people. So it's important that we do that, and other people.
What about logistics and shipment? Do you take care of this, or it's also a matter of your assistant?
Even more doing sculpture, you have a lot of logistics, a lot of crates, I'm working in Asia, in Europe and South America and North America, so I have a lot of artworks flying all over. They're flying more than me, actually. That's visiting a lot of places in the world, and is a big deal. So
then you will, how can I say? You will be witness of the opinion of Fidia about social media through his artwork later.
Totally. It's one of my main themes of research. Yeah.
Now, Massimo, what about you? Who do you work with for your production and for your marketing, let's say, aspects?
Substantially, I work alone because the comic process it is very autistic. Substantially, and because you are the king of your own little world, or like a little mad scientist. This is my world, and I can do everything with it. But after this, you have to connect your work with different companies. And I don't have assistant, but I have different assistant. It depends from project by project. So the people that work with me are different for every project. Even if I have to do ceramics or I make music, I have very different. In my life, I had 2 or 3 different bands, but now I prefer to make music alone because I am very autistic and I dislike to work with the guitarist or with the drummer that are very, very boring person because they wanted to say something different from me.
Massimo, if you have to name one skill or 2 skills that your ideal assistant must have, what would this skill be?
A sense of humor.
Very important.
Very important for me. And the first that they are very good in their own thing, because I
specialized.
I work with the best ceramics. I work with the best musicians. I work with the best illustrator in team to make something, or with the best in Italy animators.
You exhibit with the best artists.
Yes,
no,
definitely.
They are the best, so they can do the hard work for me.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So now it's the moment for the assistant, the art manager, the co-protagonist of the art world. So, Giorgia, what is your job? What do you do?
Oh, that's a good question. So, my husband is Juliet Better. He's an artist, and I studied to actually be an art manager and to deal with art business.
What was the title of your course?
Business for marketing and business for art,
Okay.
which was a very specific course back in Bologna, very similar to what I actually do at the YED.
Yes,
So that's what I studied. It's under the economy faculties, and it's business for art. And then I grinded my teeth, you will say in English, working as a gallery assistant for many years. And we actually met Fidia and Massimo many years ago when I was working back in Italy. And that's actually where I met my future husband, Joe. And now we work together and Jacopo, that's right. And now we work together. So Joe is the creative force, and I call myself the little elf of Santa Claus. So I try to facilitate everything, all the extra work for Joe. I try to leave him alone as much as possible, doing just the creative part, but it's not as easy, unfortunately, Fidia. It's not as easy to have the artist that is only doing art, closing his, in his room, creating beautiful images, and everybody else doing the rest of the work. It needs to be a teamwork because, for example, when we one of the many things that I do is communication. I prepare the email, the social media, but you're representing the artist, you're the voice of the artist, and in the end, it needs to be consistent with the artist's vision. So it's really hard. I cannot take my own decision all the time on my own. I need to be approved by Joe, and I'm sure that's what's happening also with many other artists. But it's true, it's because it needs to be consistent with the art vision. I cannot be just by myself. So it's a constant team effort between Joe and I. So the many things that I do is, of course, communication, PRs. I'm the first barrier with emails. But I also take care of all the shippings, which, as you mentioned, is one of the most tedious work on the planet. But I do it happily. And I do a lot of research online. When there is something new, we come up with a new idea. Who is the best at doing this? I spend hours on the internet researching for new ideas and also looking what other artists are doing. With these other artists that we really think he normally does a great stuff. What is he doing? What is he doing on Instagram, for example, on social media? So many artists spend so much time and invest so much in it.
Or so many assistants. Or they have so many assistants.
Right, exactly. But, looking at what other people are doing to, not copying, but doing your version of it, because it's always good at what other people are doing. And, it's a lot. Plus, we are in a very specific spot because we do have, Joe Painting Studio is in the house. And so that changes also a lot of the equilibrium inside our household too. Yes. So it's a constant organization. I will say that, I love the art and the art world. I'm just not talented. I never had the gift. And so I'm like the child that wants to play soccer so bad, but brings the ball because nobody else bringing it. And sure, I'll do the goalkeeper because I want to play so bad. Yeah. And the position that
That's
nobody wants to do.
That's very important what you're saying, because this kind of, courses or professions are exactly made for those people who want to be involved in the art scene without being artists themselves. This is the whole concept of not an artist. You, me, the director, Valeria, we are not an artist, but we promote art, we promote culture. Without being artists ourselves. So you exactly center the point. Yes, Fidia.
It's very important to put boundaries within those different, duties and positions, because sometimes an assistant or a marketing manager which would like to be an artist, he mess up everything because he start to compete with the artist, and that's, I totally agree, has to be a team work. So if it's a team work and he's a marketing manager or a PR, or a gallery, they're working together, it comes out amazingly. But if it's a competition which, the ego comes out and everybody would lie on the top to the other, is a disaster. And that's what's happening a lot of times, and that's why a lot of artists, they change assistants, they change people which they're working with. So it's very important to what you say, that you're not skilled. No, you are. You have the gift to do what you're doing, and it's not less than an artist's gift. So that two different things, they bond together and bring the success to what you guys doing.
Very true, absolutely, very true. It's when somebody else that is not an artist wants to be an artist and try to art direct the artist that is terrible, you're taken. Point taken, absolutely. I will say that in our case, we do a good teamwork and we work on many of the different aspects together. But for sure, what you said is also very important. Everybody has his own profession and should stay in their department, for sure.
It's not to the fear of being invaded, it's to make it more efficient. It's to make every work I don't consider if I have somebody working for me, I consider working with me. So it's not nobody's working for me, everybody's working with me. I'm working with them. So we're working together to make a message out there, to make something efficient, which makes the society rolling on in different directions. So it's important. Otherwise, it's complicated.
Clear. So before asking Igor his opinion on all that, let's keep with Joe Ledbetter, but let's go a little bit back to the methodology, and let's play a video of Joe and Giorgia, I guess, working on the artwork Chaos Bunny, so that you can actually hear from the artist what it meant to build this great project that you will have the chance to see in the gallery. So please play J-LED video. Back on stage, yes. A lot of hard work, yes, from hand sketching, drawing, softwares, photography, video making, lots of it. So also this is the reason why we chose toy design as a symbol of this blurring borders between disciplines, of the need of extra specific knowledge to make this world go round. So Igor, why don't you give us your opinion about that? And after the intervention of Igor, feel free to raise your hand. I will come to you and you can ask questions to all of us.
Yes, only a few words about this, because we choose the toy culture. I think toy culture is my great passion. So I like very much the toy artist, and it's very interesting, the toy culture, because it's something that is borderline. Not because it's borderline with art, but a lot of persons that work in art world think that are not really art. But there are a lot of very interesting examples of artists that work with toys, like, I don't know, Takashi Murakami, like the school of Kaikai Kiki, the Japanese school of artists, but also a lot of artists from the west coast of USA, that is one of the center of toy culture, that is related with a lot of disciplines like street art, urban art. So there is a lot of the connection with the official and unofficial art, because there is an official art and there is an unofficial art, but all is art. And I think that's very interesting, the toy culture, because it's something that is very close related to the design. In my opinion, there is no difference between art and design. Art is design, design is art. It's a difference that is made in the past, in 18th century, when with the encyclopedia we need to have some classification. But in the past there is no difference between art and design. And also I think that in contemporary age is toy culture is an example that is not different between this discipline. Also because in the contemporary culture there is no boundaries between the creative discipline, the visual disciplines. So you have fashion design, furniture design, interior design, visual arts that are mixed. There are some movies that I don't know if I say that are a movie that I can see in cinema or a movie that I can see inside the museum. Like there is a lot of example. You imagine the Chris Cunningham video, the video that made for Björk that was presented in Biennale. That is a music video, but also is an art video. So there is no boundaries between discipline. And the toy art is a very interesting example, because all the artists that are in the exhibition are artists, but also are designer, also are musician, also are writer, also are expert in communication. Also in the video of J-Led we can say that Joe work with the toys, but also his work on the packaging. That is a part of a communication. The packaging is a part that the packaging culture is what you study in communication. So there is a lot of things that are inside this project. And also Fidia talk about there is a problem with some assistants that want to become artists, that are the complex of Eve against Eve. You remember the very famous movies with Bette Davis, and is a problem. But it's real that the assistant or the person that work with the artist are part of the artwork, because there is the artwork, there is the artist, but in the contemporary age, it is a very, very important thing. There is all the communication, the way to present art. You imagine that one of the most important art in the world, Damien Hirst, was supported by Charles Saatchi. Charles Saatchi is the guru of communication. So it's very interesting that the communication now is part of the contemporary aesthetic. So contribute to create the reality of art. There is a lot of persons that work inside that world that are the person, they not artists, also me are not artist, and that work and contribute to create an artwork. And so it's difficult to find, to define who is an artist. An artist is the person that has the idea to realize an artwork, also are the person that work to create this idea. It's very difficult. So it's interesting because when in my school in ID, we wanted to think about, not about the contemporary of today, but the contemporary of tomorrow. About the future. And we think about this. We wanted to create some courses. We wanted to help the students to find the new way to be part of the art world, but not like an artist, but like somebody that support the art world, that will be a part of a little part of artists, because the artist is not a person, but is like a complex of person. Are many persons that contribute to create an artist. Imagine, like, it's very interesting. I visit 3 years ago, the studio of Johanna Vasconcelos. Johanna Vasconcelos, as you know, is the one most important artist in the world. And the studio, inside the studio of Johanna, there is the office of Johanna, but also there is a technical office, administrative office, I don't know, design office. There's a lot of profession that help Johanna to be Johanna. But Johanna, without this person, is not Johanna Vasconcelos. It's very interesting because art now is not something that is related with only one person, but it's something that is related with other person. But imagine that in the past was similar, because the idea of bottega, the Ansel bottega, you imagine the bottega of Raffaello, was very similar to the idea of the factory of Andy Warhol, where a lot of different professional work inside this place to create an artist or to have an artist. So
I would like to say something, because it's exactly what he's saying. Igor is a curator, and nobody knows that my first exhibition in Italy has been curated by Igor, so that's where we met. And honestly, my long run in the art world is also thanks to Igor, because he found me in the middle of a lot of artists and picked me and put me in the first official contemporary art exhibition. So his role in the art world, the curator role in the art world, is very important, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be
Yes, it's very important, but it's very, very dangerous role, because somebody, you imagine that in a contemporary age there is a problem. You go to visit an exhibition and you don't know where is who is the artist, you know where is the curator. You say it's the big problem.
It's dangerous sometimes.
Yes, if you have sometimes you check a fantastic video by an Israeli artist that is named Marcus Sharar, that's made this very funny video that is titled "The Curator." Is a critic about the role of curator, but it's a very difficult role. So we have a course in curatorial practice. That is one of the subject of the course is the role of the curator, that is have not to become
overcome.
Yes, overcome.
So let's take the suggestion of Igor to watch The Curator, and the second suggestion of Igor to come and study at YED. But now it's time for your questions, if you have any. Before going out and checking the exhibitions, of course, which is, yes. Okay, so there was a question there.
Hi, my name is Luca. I have a question. How much did you have actually to compromise between, so you always wanted to be an artist, and I'm assuming you started doing something, I don't know if actually starting doing what you're doing now, and then you develop in what you are now. How much did you have to compromise between what you really want to do and what your people liked? And if you didn't have to compromise, do you think that's the reason why you actually became successful?
A question for?
Who feel like answering?
For the two artists, yeah.
Okay, it is a good question because I have to do is every time when I work with different companies, and I hate it first, but it is something that you have to do, and I think that it is something from you learn something, because you can't to be an artist that it is out of this world completely. You have some time to accept some compromise, because you have to make something for the people and not for yourselves.
Okay. I agree. It's important. It's important. How important is the message, and how important is you saying whatever you want? So, if the message is important, you have to understand that not everybody thinking like you. Not everybody is ready to get the message straight away the way it is. So, the compromise, at least for me, is about trying to find the good language which could be shared, and sometimes it's not your own language, so your language has to be a little filter to get embraced by the others. So we got to be, I think it's interesting, it's a good challenge.
Okay then, thank you everybody for listening to us. Yes, I was looking at the audience, and as far as I can see, there are no more questions. There was one, actually, yeah, in the dark. Yes.
Oh, he is my friends, and he are talking about very, very old songs that I have made in the 80s. And it was a song very, very stupid, and the people throw rubbish against me, and he was one of the people.
So
Yes,
that was a
it
tricky
is
question.
Part of the performance.
So is the chicken an intelligent animal or not? Just answer to the question.
It is a very good question. It is one of the best questions of the world. I think that everybody have to make these questions by himself and
interact
in
with
your
chicken
home. And you have to meditate a lot about this.
So thank you. Thank our guest and to our audience. Thank to the director. Thanks to Nicole, thanks to Serena, and enjoy the exhibition.